Yes, he is a Pied Piper. This piper was hired by a small town called Hamelin in Germany. There was a threat of outbreak of plague due to battalion of rats. He was engaged to get rid of those rats from town by playing the pipe. On the hypnotic notes of the rat catcher's magical flute, the rodents politely followed him and got evicted through the city gates to their presumed doom and the end. The town is now free from plague, but the town refused to pay the piper for his service. So, the savior turned into more satanic and came back for Hamelin's children. The hypnotized boys and girls followed the piper out of town and simply vanished, captivated, mesmerized, and entranced by the notes of his flute. Many parents searched and found they have lost their children. There are many such folklore stories as how he mesmerized the children. Many writers tinkered with the story, so on and so forth. But I am tinkering it in my own style and say, as a manager, you are in a way a Pied Piper. As a leader, you need to lead your team. You need to guide, mentor your people. You had been giving advices and led the project. But surprisingly, when you march ahead as a Pied Piper, suddenly when you turned back, you noticed there was nobody behind you. No followers, no staff, no team. The line was complete blank. Why? Did you play the pipe music too much? Is the pipe lost its steam and the team vanished to follow you? We will see in this video what Marshall Goldsmith said, why people desert you and vanish. In his book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. In fact, Goldsmith found that most successful people have 21 annoying interpersonal or leadership behaviors that are keeping them from the next level. Although it is normal for human beings to have dysfunctional habits, the impact of such habits is much greater for senior leaders. Just a handful of bad habits, if repeated frequently and intensely, can create a real problem for the people around them. We saw in the last video that always having a winning mindset can jeopardize to take you further. We will see what else behavior or attitude can pull you back. Accordingly, we will address the next issue of adding too much value in every situation or every suggestion. Here, the stress is on too much value. Let me give you one example. I was waiting in the airport lounge for a layover to pick up my next flight for onward journey. In my next seat in the lounge, a senior traveler was discussing with his junior. The junior was suggesting some process change for quality improvement for their company product. I suppose they were plotting out a new venture. But something did not go right and the conversation was slightly off. As a coach, I was always interested in watching the communication style with the forensic intensity in people dialogues for clues to what it reveals about the communication flaws and themselves. Here, every time when the junior was proposing an idea or suggestion, he was cut or cancelled by the senior saying why it won't work. Senior remarks, "That's a great idea, but it won't work in that form." Then the senior narrates his experience of how he failed in a similar process. When senior finished, the junior would pick up again from where he left. But lo, he was interrupted again. The junior was frustrated and kept quiet. My sensitivity analysis suggests that senior should have listened in completely. He should not have jumped on judgment soon. It's common among the leaders running the show to win all the time and add value all the time to subordinate suggestions. Their ego may not permit to accept a fresh thought from the junior, because anything new or fresh can occur only to them. Marshall says many leaders operate in the old top-down approach, and only they need to tell others what needs to be done. But it is time they realize that the world has changed, that most of their subordinates know more about some specific areas than they ever will. But old habits die hard. They will somehow communicate that it is not anything new or they already know it. That is exactly the problem with adding too much value. This behavior will impact his team member to participate or risk suggesting, because in any case it will be shot down. The members will not follow the Pied Piper anymore and they will vanish. Have you ever caught yourself jumping into similar situation to improve someone's idea even before they finish speaking? You thought you were helping, right? But actually, in that moment, you just quietly killed their motivation. This is what something Marshall Goldsmith calls adding too much value, a silent trap that smart, well-meaning leaders often fall into. This tiny behavior, this harmless habit, can make or break leadership, trust, and creativity. So, what does adding too much value really mean? It is when someone brings you an idea, instead of supporting it, you immediately try to improve it. It is like when one of your juniors, named Raja, comes up with a fresh idea. You say things like, "That is great, but what if we also add a checklist?" "Nice idea, but I would suggest you do it like this." "I love it, but let us tweak it a little with a checklist." Notice the pattern? Sounds helpful, right? But here is what happened next. You have just hijacked the ownership of his idea. Even if your suggestion is better, you have unknowingly made it yours, not theirs, copyrighted in your name. And that is where the damage begins. Raja stopped feeling like it was his idea. He did not feel proud of it anymore. His ownership is snatched by you. He stopped bringing new ideas to you after that. And the team? They will wait for you to make all decisions. Innovation dropped, morale dipped, all because of one sentence. If we add a checklist here, the Pied Piper played too much and the children stopped following him. Let us explore the hidden psychology behind why leaders quickly jump in to add suggestions even when it is not necessary. Number 1, staying relevant. Even seasoned leaders fear becoming invisible. Even if the idea is fine, they need to leave their fingerprint. It's about fear of fading out. They think, if I am not contributing, am I still valuable? What if they stop needing me? Number 2, validating your intelligence. Many high performers grew up being the smartest in the room. So even in leadership, they feel this compulsion to prove their worth by fixing, tweaking, and improving. It is not arrogance, it is habitual performance pressure. They don't know how to feel valuable without being the solution giver. Number 3, reinforcing your status. Sometimes leaders fear losing authority, so unconsciously they remind others of who is really in charge, not with titles, but by always having the final word. Even well-meaning leaders can fall into this trap without realizing it. It is not a power trip. It is a subtle insecurity around power erosion. Number 4, instant gratification of control. Here is the sneakiest one. It feels good. Adding your input gives a quick dopamine hit. You feel smart, you feel useful, you feel in control. But it's a short-term satisfaction at the cost of long-term growth. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying bosses have to zip their lips to keep their staff's spirits from sagging. But higher up you go in the organization, the more you need to make other people winners and not make it about winning yourself. Even though you might believe you could add value, sometimes you will realize you have more to gain than to win. Great leaders don't always need to be the smartest in the room. They need to be the ones who bring out other people's brilliance. So, the next time someone shares an idea with you, don't top it, don't tweak it, just let it breathe. Because sometimes the best way to add value is to say nothing at all. Thank you for watching till the end. Think of your conversations at home. How sometimes you cancelled others by your sharp comments. Share them in the comment sections below. In the meanwhile, I will continue to play the pipe from the wisdom of Marshall Goldsmith.